My name is Nikki Finn. I'm an actor, a writer, a poet, a performer, a spoken word artist. I also work as a teacher and I'm an educator. I love the idea that you and I could be from different places and live in the same world and see it completely differently because no one has the same experience. Malcolm Gladwell talks about 10,000 hours, as in like 10,000 hours of practice and whatever you love, you become a genius. And I felt my whole life I never knew what I wanted to do. I tried a lot of things. I wrote poetry when I was younger. I took acting, and I wanted to be an actor for a really long time. I studied theater. I studied politics. I studied leadership, and I studied community building, and then all these things sort of came together when I came back to New York. You know, I met such interesting role models, and I met such interesting artists that I was inspired, and it sort of been clicked along the way that, wait, I can do all these things at once. Like, this is who I am. I've been putting in my 10,000 hours all along. And so I feel like it's sort of all the things, like I grew up listening to hip hop, I grew up in the theater, I grew up wanting social change and political change, and all these things sort of coming together through poetry and spoken word in New York City. I did this joint called Cowboys. I was writing it for over a year because I kept seeing all these themes pop up in my writing. So when the pieces kept coming up and I was like trying to put it together, and eventually it started snowballing into this huge imaginary declaration of identity. Sarah Jones talked about how much of identity is constructed. And I think about, yes, we are products of where we are from, but poetry is about the imagination. It's about our ability to control our world. Being creative means just being true to yourself. In a world that, you know, we have retweets and hashtag culture, it's just like, how do you find yourself? And art is not so much a reflection of the world, but it's a reflection of how you experience the world. Like I talk about the diet you give yourself. And if you listen to jazz, that's going to be influenced in your poetry. If you exercise, that's going to be influenced in your poetry. If you box, your poetry will start looking like boxing. And I feel like just to be able to put your unique spin on things is so important in today's world because so much of the recycled saying again, again, again. Even politics, it seems like again, 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 same thing, same story. You watch the news again and again and again. And be able to take that monotony and be able to put a new spin on it, that's poetry. If poetry is to truly develop a genuine audience, I think the poetry community needs to get its shit together first. And I mean, I'm talking about a certain level of professionalism, and a certain level of unity, and a certain level of cohesion that exists in other art forms. And ballet has a genuine audience. Poetry doesn't necessarily, at least spoken word poetry. If you know, they can get in the theater, we can get in the theater. And if we can develop a genuine professional base for what we do in our community, I feel like the world will pay attention. I'm currently working on a one-man show. It's going to be poetry, monologues, hip-hop, theater all blended together. And it's going to be talking about what's going on in Brooklyn right now. And it's going to be called The Last Hipster in Brooklyn, which of course is ironic because of the proliferation and how much of Brooklyn is changing mostly for the worse, in my opinion.
I want to do is to make poetry famous. All I want to do is to burn my name into the sun. All I want to do is read poetry in the middle of a burning building, or maybe standing in the fast lane of the freeway, or even falling from the top of the Empire State Building. Because this literary world sucks. Dead dog dick. I would rather be Richard Speck than Gary Snyder. I'd rather ride a rocket ship to hell than a Bobo anywhere.